Hello, you've reached Gloria with Farmstead Talk, and I am here today with Anita Andrews from Asher Farms, and she is representing her state of Alabama in this homesteading interview today. Welcome, Anita, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Gloria.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure. So would you like to share with the audience where they can find you on social media?
Sure. We have a Facebook page that is Asher Farm. We also have a website that is themarketatnewport.com, where you can order products and stuff, but you can keep up with the farm from our Facebook page, Asher Farm.
Okay, great. So go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself, who's living out there on the homestead with you, and where you're located at.
Okay, we're in a small central Alabama town called Clanton, and it's me and my husband of 7 years, and a lot of animals, but he and I are the two-legged people around here.
Okay.
We're in a little community. It's very rural and it's very agriculturally inclined. It's always been pretty much a farming community.
What's the population out there?
Clanton, the city proper, has a population of about 9,000, but
Okay.
the county that we're within has a population of about 45,000.
Okay. So what growing zone are you in?
We're in number 8 growing zone.
Okay.
So we don't have real severe winters or anything like that. But I mean, we get snow about once every 3rd or 4th year. We get a lot of rain, and we are hot in the summers.
Okay. So what type of gardening methods do you utilize?
We're pretty much sticking with, because we're pretty much a micro farm. We're on about 2.5 acres. So every inch counts, all of space matters. So we're utilizing raised beds because that allows us to, we can pack it really tight and plant it really thick. And so mostly raised bed is as far as the gardening aspect of it.
Okay. And so what are you growing out there?
Because we're in such an agriculturally active area, the normal crop type plants like tomatoes and squash and cucumbers, they're very readily available in the area. Fresh fruits, strawberries, peaches, apples. So what we've done is to kind of create a niche market for ourselves. We go more towards herbs, both culinary and medicinal. So some of the things that we really work at growing, and a lot just for our own self, are things like horseradish, ginger, garlic, turmeric. I have a lot of plantain, so we do some wild crafted herbs like mullein and plantain grows pretty freely around, and then we dry those and preserve them, or we make tinctures with them. And I do a skincare line, and a lot of that stuff is very good to go into the skincare products.
Very nice. Very nice. So with any of the foods or the herbs, do you do any preservation with that at the end of the season?
Yeah, we do some drying to preserve and carry us through winter. We'll do some tinctures for some of the more medicinal things. Have worked at doing like some garlic oil and ginger oil, and learning to juice both of those because they're very effective for our goats. And so I use a lot of ginger and garlic in the goats.
Nice. Very good. You also mentioned that you do a foddering system for the goats as well. You want to share a little bit about what that looks like, the type of seed that you're germinating?
Yeah, we use wheat. We use the standard feed wheat, and we use wheat because most of the reading I did and learning about foddering was recommending barley, but barley's not readily available in the South, and so I just decided to try my hand at wheat. And so fodder is a roughage for the goats. It's especially in the wintertime, it helps replace just the dry hay, and it's giving them a living food. So we went with a wheat fodder. We have it's a fast grower. It's easy to sprout. You know, a pound of wheat will transfer into almost 4 pounds of fodder. And so you're really stretching your dollar by using fodder, you know, and especially a roughage system with a goat, with an animal that ruminates, and because they need to keep that rumen active all the time. And so we've just had real good luck with the fodder.
Very nice. So speaking of the goats, what other type of animals do you have on the farm, and what are the purposes of those animals?
Well, we started out, you know, they always say chickens are the gateway farm animals. So we started with chickens, and we keep between about 50 and 60 laying hens. And then we also started with bees. And so I'm a beekeeper, and that is very challenging. But I love doing it, but it is challenging. I've got 4 hives that should have overwintered okay. I don't try to keep, you know, like a million hives. I'm not raising bees to sell. I've probably been doing bees about 6 years now. And we do usually have a pretty good honey crop. And then a lot of it is just trying to keep them healthy and just keep your bees sustainable from year to year to year. And that can be challenging with, you know, there's so many things that work against bees. We hear it in the news all the time, and it is true. Beekeeping is difficult. But then, so we have the laying hens, and we have the bees, and then we keep about a core herd of 35 dairy goats, and we raise registered Nigerian dwarf goats, and we also raise registered Saanen goats. And Saanens are a big full-size goat. A grown doe will go 170 to 200 pounds, where the Nigerians are 70 pounds tops. So it's a mixed herd. We do also raise registered mini Saanens, which is a cross between the Nigerian buck and the Saanen doe. And it gives you a really nice middle of the road animal that has a high quality of milk, is an easy keeper, is a bigger goat, but not as big as the full-size Saanen. And they have they milk a nice volume of milk, and it's a really nice consistency of milk.
Okay. Anything else out there on the farm?
Well, there's, I have bred and raised parrots for probably about 30 years. And so I still maintain a flock of older birds that have just been with me a long time. So there's about 35 or 40 parrots that are, they stay, we have a big aviary, and they stay in flights, and we're not a very active breeding operation anymore. I used to hand raise babies, but I still have a few babies every year or every other year or so, but they're kind of, they've been my friends and been with me a long time, so they're here. And then we just got a mess of dogs. We do have livestock guardian dogs that protect the chickens and the goats and everything. And we have some ducks and geese for the pond.
What type of livestock guardian dogs do you have?
I have a Great Pyrenees, and then we have an Anatolian Pyrenees cross, and we are awaiting, we're about to have an Armenian Gamper, which is a landrace dog, and they're pretty rare in the United States. So we're really excited about adding him to our farm. So
very nice. So what are the purpose? So I know that the parrots have been with you a long time, so they're basically your friends. And so what about the goats? Now, what practices are you utilizing with the goats?
Well, with the goats, we make goat's milk soap and goat's milk lotion. And so I had always wanted to do that. But I wanted to milk my own goats to be able to do that. I don't know if maybe it was instilled in me. My grandmother always had a milk cow. And so I was, you know, in the summers when I would visit my grandparents, my grandmother and I would go, and she would milk that cow. And those are some of my richest childhood memories. And so maybe it just got imprinted. But of course, we sell babies. Because we breed, because to get milk, you got to have babies. So we sell the babies and market them. Nigerians are great because they can really go into pet homes. They make wonderful pets, but we do it for the milk. We hope our long-term plan is to become a grade A dairy and be able to provide a really high quality goat's milk. Goat's milk is so nutritionally beneficial, a little easier on the digestive system than cow's milk, and it doesn't always have a great reputation. So we'd like to help that along and let people understand that goat's milk is really a great choice in milk. So that's the long-term plan. Right now I'm milking 9 once a day because they still have kids on them. As you go, we're in our kidding season, so we're having babies, and then goats are being rotated back into milk. And when we finish our kidding season, I'll be milking 14 does. And right now there's 22 babies on the ground with 4 does still to kid.
Wow, you have your hands full.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest challenge out on the farm?
The biggest challenge for me is time management, not get distracted and stay on course. Managing bigger projects and fitting them into an already packed schedule. Like we're actually building a new, bigger chicken house, but it's hard to find the time to work on that size of a project when you're feeding and milking and bottling babies and just the regular general care, and everything here has to be, seen about through the day. And so time management is that's a tough one for me.
What about biggest successes so far to date?
Probably one of the things that I'm really pleased with is this is our first year to have does that are homebred, that we've bred and raised, go into the milk room. And so, when you're buying goats and then you start crossing and you're buying a buck and a doe and you start doing the crosses, you hope that you know enough about the genetics that you end up with good sound udders, good capacity, and all of that. And so I've just started some of my first fresheners. It's the first time that they have kidded and had babies. And so I'm bringing my first fresheners into the milk room, and I've got nice big capacity udders, and the structure of the udders are very nice, and the attachments are very good. And this is an animal that will milk long term and stay very healthy and do well as a a working doe. And so that's just been real exciting to see that come together, because there's a couple of years in that. And so that time investment has paid off well, and I'm just really excited about our homegrown does.
Wow, that sounds so exciting. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What about sustainable practices? What would you say that you utilize in your home and on the farm?
One of the biggest sustainable practices that we do is probably the composting. Everything that's cleaned out of the barn is composted, and so that gives us, we don't use fertilizers, and of course we don't spray any pesticides because we have bees on the property. Even though they forage out, we try to keep the property as clean as we can keep it. So we compost all of our barn waste and material to fill up our raised beds. So that's a really great symbiotic relationship. So we also we're going to have a well put in this year and go to well water. We're building and constructing our milking processing area that'll be state inspected and everything. And so we're going to catch our gray water and use that for the gardens and stuff like that. So, we try to look for anywhere that we can incorporate a pretty standard sustainable practice.
Yeah, sounds good. So you touched on a little bit about your future plans. What would you say is the 5-year plan for the whole farm? And I know that's hard to say because you can't predict, but what would you like to see come to fruition in the next 5 years?
Well, we're starting this year with opening the farm up to a little more agritourism, and that's challenging because it is a working farm. It's like I'm standing outside, but right in front of me is a giant pile of sand that we're moving into the barn to make a new area. We just added on and leveled the floor up. So when you start talking about a tourist attraction type of place, you know, those things are very challenging to keep the farm very presentable when people are coming in. So, but we hope to do a little more agritourism and build on that. I would love to do, we hope that we will be doing, if not this year, by next year, tours for the schools, for classrooms, educational things. I have already started teaching some classes here at the farm. We're doing like soap making classes, cheese making classes, things that, you know, part of homesteading is for yourself to be more sustainable. And what we hope we can do through this is maybe help other people learn some of the things that we've learned and become more self-sustainable and connect a little bit more back to where food actually comes from. So I've started trying to develop and line up classes. I hear lots and lots of folks, backyard chickens are so popular now, but people come up and they say, what do you do with all the eggs? So I'd like to develop a class to help people know what to do with some of their chicken eggs, just things that I've learned, recipes I've come across. When you have a lot of eggs, you start looking for egg recipes. So classes like that. We are already doing yoga with baby goats. We did that last year, and as soon as spring will come all the way in and we're not inundated with rain, we have a certified yoga instructor, and she'll be out here in this pretty spot behind me by the pond, and we'll turn the baby goats loose and let everybody try to do a little yoga, but really play with a lot of baby goats. So things like that. And then of course we are working to become a grade A dairy, which is a pretty big undertaking, and that's, you know, we'll work through this year and probably another year before that's fully realized. But that's one of our biggest long-term goals.
Wow, very nice. Very nice. And what a beautiful background you have there.
Thank you.
Very, very pretty. How would you say that religion or spirituality plays a role in your homestead?
Wayne and I really feel like that God put on our heart to do this. I've actually lived on this property for about 20 years. And then when Wayne and I married, we just really felt like that this was the purpose that God was calling us to. And he's really provided in so many ways. There were doors that got opened that we weren't even trying to open, that opened up to us. You see so many things that, you know, like I said, doors just opened up and the way was kind of paved, and the farm kind of pulls itself together. We're just kind of along for the ride. And so when you talk about a 5-year plan, the 5-year plan is whatever God makes it be. So we're really following more than leading in this. And so, but we both felt just very, very led, and it's our purpose. You know, it's my purpose to be, to me, this farm is very much it's a sanctuary. And I think in this world, anybody that can get an idea of how to create a sanctuary and can hear God enough to do that, the world has gotten so chaotic and so crazy that we need a lot more little spots in the world that are sanctuaries. And that's what we do here. It's a place of peace and a sanctuary.
It sure sounds like it's a place of peace and sanctuary. So we're getting ready to wrap up. If you could, in one word, sum up what your homesteading experience has meant to you, what would that word be?
Miraculous. A farm is a series of daily miracles every day. It's from a seed popping open and sprouting. Watching fodder grow in 7 days will blow you away. It's just crazy to go from some wet seeds to 4-inch tall wheatgrass, but it happens so fast, and it's beautiful. It's rich and green, and you don't fertilize it, you don't do anything but water it. That's miraculous. The birth of a kid, when you're helping a doe kid, and she trusts you enough to let you be there to help her. Like I said, it's every day is a miracle. Every day you witness some miracle around you on a farm. So when I sum up this experience, it's just miraculous in a tiny little way every day.
Wow, very nice. Anita, thank you so much for joining me on this interview today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Gloria. I enjoyed it.
No problem. Have a great day.